Go.
Hey, it's Cam here with Gold Solar. I'm just doing an updated training video on how to make a junction box for a 2-string system, or this can also be for a 4-string system if you just make 2 of these. So some things we're going to need: first of all, a junction box and tech wire, 4-wire tech here. You need a drill with a step bit, a bigger step bit like this, black and red E-tape, your tech connector with the washer for it, strain relief with the insert for the 5 holes, so it'll be string 1 positive, string 1 negative, string 2 positive, string 2 negative, and the ground wire in here with the washer for that too. Some wire morettes, the ground wire moret, your junction box Lamicoid, and then it's helpful to have like a multi-tool flathead just for taking the screws off this guy, the ground bushing, and then I have a smaller step bit here just in case I want to be more detailed or make like a smaller hole, and then a 5/16 with a self tapper, which I use to make the drain holes. You can also use this to make the drain holes. So to start, we're just going to open up the junction box here. Okay, so the first thing I think about after my junction box is open is, you see the holes here? I think about where the junction box is going to be. So top rail is going to be here. It's going to be right below the top rail. So we don't want to put anything here just because the water, like, we don't want any water to drip in here. So ideally you want something here or here. So I'm going to put my tech coming out the bottom like that. So I'll have my tech connector there, and I'm going to have my strings coming in. So since the junction box is on the right side of the array, all the strings will be coming from here. So I'm going to have my strain relief here, and then I'll put the Lamicoid here, obviously. So that means our drain holes are going to be at the bottom. So the first thing I'll do is put drain holes. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 along the bottom here. The drain holes, and I do like 1 in each corner and then 2 somewhere in the middle. So next I'm going to drill the hole for the tech connector. So I've labeled out here and I know it's at the bottom. So I just put the big step bit in and just start drilling. I just try to put it right in the center. It's important that you don't want to make the hole too big. So obviously it's way too small right now, but every once in a while I'll just kind of take my knife, shave a bit of it away, and put this up to it and just try to, because you don't want to make the hole too big. That's definitely an issue. So yeah, just keep on matching this up to it until it's nice and tight, and you can kind of screw it in, and it almost will just thread into it. If it's a little too big, that's fine, as long as it's not bigger than this, so that the washer's secured on the other side. We definitely still need a bit more. Okay, so I've made my hole, I've shaved it away so it's nice and clear. You can see I can put the tech connector up to it. It's not crazy tight fitting, but it's definitely the right size. And then you can just take this washer, twist it on this side here. Also good to use some sort of vice grip or pliers or something. Sometimes I'll just use this and just kind of push that clockwise as much as you can. Just get it nice and tight. Just loosen that for later. So that's the tech connector. It's also important that it's somewhere in the middle so that you have some room here so that when the lid goes on, this isn't pushing up the lid. So we're good to go there. So next, I just see I have my strain relief coming in on the left side because that's where most of my home runs are going to be coming in. So that's where I'll go. And for this, I'll also put it right in the middle because we're going to want to put screws to screw the junction box into the roof here and here. So you don't want to be having this over top of that. You want it right in the middle. And the nice thing about one of this, it's the 1-inch strain relief, is you can just go the max. You just drill with the max, like all the way to the end with this step bit, and that's the perfect size for this guy. So not as much thinking involved there. We can kind of just go for it. Alright, so we got the hole for our strain relief. It's just the max size from the step bit. And if you can see, this just fits nice there. And again, just like the tech connector, we just secure it with this washer. And then we're just going to pop this guy in. Take this off. Take this one out. And just replace it with this guy. Just screw this on just a little bit. No need to tighten it right now because we're going to be running wires. Yeah. So that's that. Alright, so we got the shell made with the tech connector, ground bushing, the washer, and the strain relief with the washer. And we put our insert in with the 5 holes. We'll throw our lamicoid on the lid here. So orientation there, and I just throw it right in the middle. Okay. And I'll probably just write a bit more detailed, like what exactly is in here. So, got string 1 positive, string 1 negative, string 2 positive, string 2 negative, and our ground wire. 5 holes, 5 things coming through there, and this is just the tech. Pretty straightforward, but it doesn't hurt to write it. So, if this were a junction box for a 6-wire tech, the difference is we can still use these 5. So I would do like string 1, string 2, string 3 negative, and then I'd just do an additional strain relief for that. I'd probably put over here because again we don't want anything on the top for string 3 positive, and then I would do another one of these guys for the ground wire. So you just do 2 extra ones. And for these guys, it's really important that you use the smaller step bit to be more accurate. And you want to constantly, drill a bit, put this up to it. You really don't want to make this hole too big because as you can see, it's pretty. You have to be pretty precise with it. But same idea as these. This one's definitely the easiest though because you just use the whole step bit. Okay, so next we're going to strip back our tech and run it into the junction box. So first, I kind of see where do I want to strip the tech to. So I see that the wires in this tech are actually more like down here. And normally what I'll do is I'll put this up to here. So if my wires start here, I want about this much wire, maybe a bit more. And I know I want this to go right to like here. So I'll just make a little mark. That. That's about where I want to strip my tech back to. So first, being really careful not to cut myself, just cut around the outside of this first outer layer. So, my knife. So there's multiple ways you can do this. I usually just use my knife on the multi-tool, but whatever tools you have will work perfectly fine. And then once you've cut all around there, you can kind of just twist this guy off. Okay, so we've taken off the outer layer. Next is the aluminum coating. So we want to leave about this much aluminum coating because this little tab here has got to slide in between this outer jacket and the aluminum. That's part of the grounding. So you want this to be touching the aluminum coating, this little tab right there. So we want our aluminum to go to about there. So what you can do is bend the tech wire until you kind of snap the aluminum like that. That. And then take these guys and kind of break it where you want it. So that. And then that should just come off like that. And I can probably take a little bit more. It's better to be conservative because you can always take away more, but you can't add it back. So take away a little bit more, and bend it a little bit, cut it like that, and then I'll just kind of twist this back on and kind of clamp it back like so. Okay, and then we just have this inner jacket. And this you got to be careful, and I'll normally leave a bit extra of that, so but you just got to be careful because behind this is the wire, so I'm cutting very lightly here just until I can see the wire. And yeah, pretty similar to how I did the outer jacket. Got our 4 PV wires and our ground wire. And this string stuff here, I'll normally just take my knife, cut it away. And it should look something like this. And now we're gonna run them in. Okay, so once you remove the inner sheathing, putting the tech wire into the tech connector. So I'll take off this top part. So this is just exposed to the pin. And then make sure everything's in the right order here. You can slide that just here for now. And then put our wires through. Sometimes they get caught. Okay, wires are through, and then with this pin here, we just want that to slip in between the outer layer and the middle. So just like that. Just push it in as much as it can go. Just give it a tug on the wire. Okay. And we can grab our top part, slip down here. And okay, so I'm just kind of pushing into the tech wire. Put this, make it straight. This guy, that. you got that all lined up, put some weight on this so I can kind of push the tech wire in. And just hand tighten this. And tighten that until you can't. And then the vice grips. Just give it a few extra tightens here. Nice and tight. And do it kind of a tug test. Make sure the tech wire is not going to come out. That's nice and secure. And we know the slip's in there. That's the most important part. So I'll just give it one more good tighten there. Okay. And we'll just tighten it until all the threads are pretty much covered. I don't want to go too much tighter than that. But yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right. Ground bushing on. Okay, so we've gotten the tech in, tightened it, and we've tightened the ground bushing. So now we're just gonna put the lug part back on. So got our hole in a good spot. I generally like to have it somewhere up so it's easy to kind of access. I'll just hand tighten this guy most of the way till about there. And I'll put this guy where I want it, so I kind of want this like somewhere right there, just so it's easy to use. And then I'll just tighten this guy the last little bit. Alright, that's nice and tight. Ground bushing's nice and tight. Tech connector's tight. Everything's tight. And we got our 4 wires here. So the way it always goes, starting with the black, this is your string 1 negative. So black is always negative, and your string 1 positive is always red. So black is always negative, red is always positive. You got your ground wire here, which we'll deal with in a second. And then you got your white and your blue. So white is always positive, blue is always negative. So I think like red and white, positive, blue and black, negative. I think like Canada, positive, red and white. And then blue and black are kind of more, I guess, negative colors. So that's the way I think about it. But yeah. So then with these guys, what we want to do is strip away a good bit. So you can use wire strippers. I just use my multi and clamp around like that lightly so you're not cutting the copper. And then you can kind of just bend it off, pull it like that. So you're going to strip all 4 of these wires like that. Let's do the white one next. White is positive, blue is negative. So I'll take the white wire and I'll E-tape it red, just so we know that it's positive. So I just wrap around it a few times with some red E-tape. don't have to go all the way, but just enough so that it's obvious that it's red. So something like that is perfectly fine. Right? So then you would just strip away these two wires as well and E-tape this one black just like you did this one red. So we'll leave that for now. And then with the ground wire from the tech, you want to run it through the bushing like that. Run it all the way through. And then take our plug. Just finger tighten that guy on there. And then we'll just use the flathead. Just using my fingers so it doesn't fall out. All right, and then okay, so we've stripped all 4 of our wires. We've E-taped the blue one black, the white one red. So this is our string 1, this is our string 2, and this is basically the end of what you can do on the ground. So we're just gonna pop some barrettes on these wires. You don't have to tighten them crazy amount, just enough so they don't fall off. And this big dark blue one, let's fold that in half. Just for the ground wire. Alright, so what's left to do is we'll run our 4 home runs and our ground wire through these string leaves, and then obviously string 1 negative, we will strip it and then moret it to this guy, string 1 positive, strip moret to this guy, so on and so forth. The ground will just run straight in and be moretted to this guy, and then that's basically it. The main difference when doing a 6-wire tech is all 6 of these wires are going to be black, so, and they're going to be numbered 1 to 6. Wire number 1 is string 1 negative. Wire number 2 is string 1 positive. Wire number 3 is string 2 negative, and so on and so forth. So your odd numbers 1, 3, 5 will be your negatives for string 1, 2, and 3 respectively, and your even numbers 2, 4, 6 will be your positives for string 1, 2, and 3 respectively. And then it's important that you E-tape your positives, so 2, 4, and 6. E-tape those red, and do it one at a time. So take wire number 2, E-tape it red, and then immediately label it string 1 positive. Because if you E-tape all 3 of them red, cover up the numbers, like, you won't know which one's what. So do them one at a time, label them. In this case, we don't really need to label these. It's pretty obvious which ones. It's obvious which are negative and which are positive because of the color. And it's obvious which one's string 1 and 2 because you can see one's E-taped and one's naturally black. And then obviously our home runs coming in here will be labeled by the guys doing the home runs. And then on the outside of this, I'll just label whatever, like the wire going into this hole. So right here, I'll have like a label saying string 1 positive. It'll be going to that hole. And on the other end of the wire here, I'll have it labeled again, string 1 positive. So that way, if we ever need to do maintenance and we take a wire out, we still know which one goes with which. And on the other end of the tech, the electricians hooking this into the inverter will know, because we all follow the same system, that black is string 1 negative, red is string 1 positive, white is string 2 positive, blue is string 2 negative. And that's about it.